Hey guys, how's it
Good
going?
morning.
Hey,
Good. We have a special guest here today. Hi, Ian.
hi everybody.
Hey,
Ian's
how
very
you doing?
special because he is the first game developer in Ori in this part of my corner of the internet world,
Hmm.
I think. I
Very
mean, there's
first,
others,
wow.
but they're like hiding. They're in hiding. Well, your first
You're
public.
in, they're in hiding.
It's by the way, okay guys, just to be clear, I did ask a long time ago. I was like, why are there no game devs in Teapot? And someone like
Mm.
replied and deleted the message as a way to like I didn't know you could that's how you I guess tell someone secret information without you having evidence that they told you. Um but he was like, "Oh yeah, last time this happened there was a big scandal and that's why we don't talk to the game developers."
Man,
Um
there's so many scandals in Teapot. I just like, can we just have no scandals for a while? It's like
uh,
have the sign days without scandals.
yeah.
I don't know. I think you guys want to
Um
attract scandals. That's the vibe
I
that I
know,
get.
kind of. Yeah, our track record's not great.
Damn it.
Maybe we're like moths to the flame, the scandal flame. Um, right. So Ian's here from my real life, and so this is like a crossover. Um, and maybe this is yeah. Who wants to put up the whiteboard?
Yeah, I'll share it. Might
Because there's a good image to kind of.
podcast will call. How's
So
this?
that there's a kind of collapse happening. I'm not talking about civilization. I'm talking
Mhm.
about. We could talk about that later.
Okay.
Um, I'm talking about my social spheres. Um, I had a recent kind of vulnerable Substack um, post. Let's say this Ithaca. Let's say this is Teapot. Okay. I'm part of a lot of different networks, a lot of different worlds that don't, interact much, and they're like clean rooms, clean environments, and I've been sort of allowing them to integrate or collapse together recently.
Mm.
Um, So this is kind of what's happening. Like Ian being here is weird again because it's like this piece of the real, real life coming into this weird internet world. But I've been getting a lot of my like Ithaca people in here, and I've been inviting people from the internet in person here, and so all these things are starting to sort of like, um,
Yeah, Omar, should I share how I know you?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, we were coworkers at Cesium probably like 8 years ago now, and just recently reconnected over the court case. Um, yeah, I'll just say it. I was expert witness at the court case.
That's
So
too cool.
this, yeah, and there's a fun segue here. Where and this is like number two on the agenda, and we're not going to talk too much about it today. But I have this project, and it might become, if we get all the permissions we need, a public video where we had a court case, finished the court case, the verdict is up in New York County Supreme Court, um, and then we did a little postmortem about it, and it was really cathartic. And we also learned a lot. There's a lot of stuff that came out there that didn't come out in the court room, and I think it's good and healthy, and maybe it will lead to some good resolution. Um, and maybe we'll trigger. We kept talking about this dominoes, like other people seeing us do this and then being inspired to also do the same kind of thing. This like public mediation game. Um, so that's pretty fresh, and this is yeah. So that's like hot off the press here.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
Hope.
and there's like a I was thinking this morning. There's also like I basically kept pitching last night that I'm like, if we just publish this, like, I know it's really vulnerable, but it might trigger sort of others to um, do the same thing. And this morning, there's another case happening. Joshua, can you click on this?
Okay.
There's there like someone like quote unquote like crashing out. And can you zoom in on your browser a bit?
Oh,
The-
Holly, yeah. Oh,
and
damn.
and this is kind of big news, yeah, it's getting a lot of traction here. I don't know how much Ian,
I actually did
is following
see.
this,
I did see this
but
just on my timeline.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, she's crashing out, like someone help her, or like this is embarrassing. And I was like, actually, I think what we're witnessing here is what I want to see more, and what I was doing during the court case, which I was just fed up with like at some point actually Holly says this. She's like, I actually started writing an object level criticism of the AI thing, but then halfway through writing it, she says, I realized it's not about that. There's this emotion. I'm actually upset at Ayla for this emotional thing, and then she switched to just talking about that. And I think that's the truth, and it's very vulnerable. And I think having the truth surface can hurt you, but it also gives us a fighting chance to do the right thing.
Yeah, and also like doing it sooner than later is like very important here because if you don't do it sooner, you just let the emotions build. So in this case, it seems like they're trying to resolve it quickly, which is good. I don't have the full background, maybe.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to sort of speculate here because again, I'm talking about this stuff. Maybe we're wrong about this particular case, but I care more about like what should be, assuming we're right about these facts, what should happen here, because other people are watching this or hearing us or whatever, and they're making decisions about their own cases, and it's up
Mm.
to them to decide if their case matches what we're talking about, and if so, they know what decision to make.
I feel like it's tricky. I feel like in a lot of cases, those emotions can result in a lot of reactivity. And so it's like when you've been sitting on something for 10 years, there's a lot of time for it to cool down versus, somebody's in the midst of going through whatever they're going through. Yeah, that same sort of reach out or that same sort of discussion could go very differently. So I think in a lot of cases, it's worth trying. It's worth kind of gently probing, but I think there's an art to it.
I think that art is called anatomy of an incident argument.
Introducing.
Because I think what's happening here is, and I think we're gonna see this as the dominoes fall, as I predict, in a lot of other cases where what we're witnessing is a political conflict that's been going for like 6 months or maybe longer, maybe a couple of years now. There's this like pause AI thing movement. It's a movement. Holly is kind of one of the leaders of this movement, and they're fighting against this other movement, which are like, I mean, there's several people in the AI here, but one of them being the rationalists. And so they're having this political fight. And there's a lot of people following both sides, so the people supporting financially or otherwise supporting each side, and they're having this big intellectual debate. But it would be really nice if we can figure out, like, wait, what percentage of this argument is about AI? What percentage of it is about, like, I don't like you as a person because you hurt me 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think the basis of most of our positions are heavily intertwined with the sort of emotional stances.
Yes.
And I feel like the rationalist sphere, I think you talked about kind of the blind spot there. It's like, I'm not emotional, I'm rational.
Right. So I think we can all save hundreds of millions of dollars of
Mm.
these conflicts and negotiations and lawsuits if we just kind of do this as a vulnerable exhaust valve thing, just say like, okay, actually, like I just think it's really stupid. Like normal people have beef with each other and they just like have their beef, but then like people with resources who are powerful or political have beef, and then the political resources and the financial resources get used for that emotional beef. And that's a really tough position to be in because
Mm.
now there's a double problem, you see. Like you had the beef with the person and then also you used resources that you shouldn't have used for the beef.
The second arrow, as
Yeah.
you will.
So now even if you come clean, you still have to like answer to the other mistake you made. Um,
Yeah.
you're in sunken cost.
Speaking of other mistakes, we still have to close the loop on Defender's Meltdown.
I mean,
I
still
don't think
kind
we're
of
gonna do
going.
that here,
Well, yeah.
but I'm gonna have to schedule some time to. I'm just thinking of Mick. I'm accountable to him.
Which again, I feel like we should get in a room. We should do the trial thing.
Honestly, yeah, I'd love to get him on the cast and just get
and
him to chat.
Fractal Andrew invited me to NYC to sort of essentially be grilled, to be put on the spot, to be sort of questioned.
Mm,
And I was like, I'm down. And actually, I think like if I have mistakes to admit to, let's do it and let's record it and let's have the world look at it. Like I want to fix the thing. I want to admit to whatever mistakes I made. Um,
totally.
because we got work to do. There's
Yeah,
there's there's a lot of things to
gotta get it
have.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would love to have a series. Like, imagine having a podcast that's specifically for that, like the exhaust valve,
Like
just the
emotional
exhaust
arbitration,
room.
kind of. Like you
Yeah.
select for like people who are very attuned to be the judge. You get a jury, maybe.
Yeah.
You can mix things up.
Like I
No,
like I
for me, it's
yeah.
it's less about like figuring out who's right and just being able to like create enough space and good enough ventilation to just get those things out. Um, Arbitration, that's an interesting angle. I don't feel qualified to do that,
Yeah, I use it
but
more
that could
more
be interesting
loosely,
as
but
well.
like someone to like be, I guess, try to be objective about it if it's needed to like help people let it out
Mm.
correctly. And then maybe the jurors would
I think
be,
what
I don't know, I don't know what the jurors would be. They could like give their analysis at the end, but I don't know how useful that would be to like for the
yeah,
the process.
it
I
could
mean
be
if you
hella fun.
Oh yeah, it would be
if you
fun.
think about it, this is already what happens, right? Like look, okay, can you pull up
Yeah, we're doing this on the timeline and not well.
that's what I mean. It's already happening. It's just that we could do it a little better. That's it. So
But I was gonna add that I think objectivity is actually like, we have to go further than objectivity. We have to go into like mutual subjectivity. This is like the anatomy of an internet argument thing. Is like you have to step into their world
yep.
and understand how they're working. So you need somebody who's like as pathologically passionate about this as Omar to like
Which
actually do that.
I think is what lawyers are supposed to do. Their job is
Mm.
not the truth. Their job is best represent steel manning, best representation of the perspective as possible, so that
Oh,
yeah,
they're supposed to steal man. I thought they were
yeah.
supposed to straw man.
Oh, they also do
Whoops.
that, but they shouldn't. Um,
Yeah.
so like this is like an app that someone made a while ago as kind of a concept. Like there's a question, and then everybody gives their take on it, and you can sort of like represent these perspectives. And in this case, like Utkowski has a lesser, like no one else is filling that spot. A bunch of other people are in the middle, and then Mark Andreessen is all the way to the other side. So this is sort of this is the result of the arbitration. Like everybody has a take, and they can have crazy takes. Like I don't care, but the point is, there are people in this image that you trust, and if they're missing, you can sort of ping them. We can sort of ping them and be like, "Hey, can you weigh in here? We're really interested in what you have to say because that moves the collective.
I think this
Like everyone who trusts you wants to hear. Yeah,
I think this chart
Yeah.
needs like bubbles, like kind of like smaller big circles scaled to how confident whoever it is in their opinions. I don't like the straight line type of thing.
I like that. Yeah. So that makes sense. I mean, you could stack them in that way as well. Let's just say, like, the higher they up they are, the more confident they are. Or you could you could stretch them out, right? This is their error bars on their confidence.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I mean, this guy's really confident over here.
Yeah, low error bars maybe for this guy.
Yeah.
But I think that's right. Like you could say like, well, I'm not really sure, but I feel like it's probably on the left side and then the right side. Like
Right.
that's basically all I think. Or you could say like, no, it's definitely right here, and here's why. Yeah, like there's a lot of metadata to play with here. But in my
Uh,
opinion, all we just need simple interfaces to begin with. I just want to
mhm.
see who had a voice here and what was it, and like instead of like it's a tweet and there's a bunch like 100 replies and people are just yelling at each other and there's some stuff on Blue Sky and
Mhm.
there's some stuff on Threads and like okay can we just start pulling all this stuff in and zoom out and look at it. Which is why actually Ian I feel like is very important to me because again we both worked in the mapping industry and
Yeah.
every time I made these like perspective maps they would go viral, people would get really excited, and I'm like, okay, I actually think if this can become a real interface. I don't really see anyone really doing it.
I did
um
it.
You're doing it now. Actually, there's something I want to show Ian. It would be nice for the world too. Actually, Joshua, can you
This guy.
open? Oh, well, this is even a simpler one. Let's start with the simpler one. Go back to the go back to the TL draw.
Did you find one?
Yeah, just open the doc and then zoom in a bit. So this is the
Right.
original concept art. Is like there's a tweet and then the semantic clustering of the answers, right? And this is important because if there's a million, wait, don't go back up, go too fast. If there's a
I'm just curious.
million, if there's a million replies that all say one thing, but there's like someone who has a perspective that's different, you can see that. So like you
Visually, yeah, it stands out.
right, and the outlier perspective could be crazy, just stupid, or it could be very insightful. So it doesn't matter how big your account is. What matters is like your semantic content.
Right.
You can of course start to imagine this being abused. You could just like do something unique for the sake of being unique, but then you like, I don't like basically you start to see the pattern. Like if it's being abused, it'll visually look like you can tell. So I like how much you can see in just a static image. Okay, but then if you scroll down here to the next image, this is me introducing it as like a microscope on the perspectives, so you can see the general shape, and then you can sort of zoom in, see these different islands of answers, see where you are, and the bottom GIF is like it filling out over time. This one's very important, or it depicts something that happens a lot, which is when you first post something, you sort of get a lot of opinions from your circle, and they fill out a certain range of opinions. But then as it goes like viral or it enters other tribes or networks, and they have a very different perspective, and at some point you're done. Like at some point you've collected all the perspectives that are humans have on the thing. And my thing is always like, what's the cheapest way to get that? Like if it goes viral and you actually do have 100 million people looking at it and reacting to it, that's when we like get some kind of ground truth. But instead of things having to, that's expensive, it's noisy. If I can get that cheaper, then I'll basically have a way to like query humanity regularly. And do you know how you would do that? Mm, This is not a trick question, either of you.
What do you mean do it? Like how to like make
I
a
just want to see if
system?
I'm. Yeah, like how do you like how like let's say you like you and I are sitting here and we want to be able to like I'm basically claiming that I've been able to do this. Like how would I have done it like manually, I guess, or like how do you think I've been
Hmm.
doing this?
Well, yeah, one thing I was wondering when I first saw the picture was like, how did you group the different islands together, and how did you like determine how close the different islands are? I assume, I don't know if you did it manually or not, but like, I guess a system would maybe just use the connections that the different people have, and maybe there's an
Right.
element of like different viewpoints having a continuum in some cases, but I don't know how you would like do that algorithmically. It feels kind of subjective.
Well, yeah, look, this is why I wanted to pause to ask the question. Like, I'm actually asking something even like dumber or simpler. I'm just saying what all I want, like in this GIF, like there's like let's say 300 people that replied. I want to get the full shape of this perspective map without getting 300 people to reply, with only having 10 people replying.
Mm.
Oh, like a polling, like sampling thing?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the answer is pretty simple. It's like, oh, okay, what do I need to do? I just wait for the thing to go viral and then look at that and then pick one person, one or two people from each island, follow them, become friends with them, monitor them. Then what do I do? Then I take a question, scissor question or whatever.
Hmm.
So that's why I pull into Ori. This is the whole Ori game, or like, I mean, the memetics part at least.
Okay, so this is like relying on
So
the small sample that you reply to being like active, very active posters.
right, I want like the whole game is very success. Like it's one specific thing that is extremely powerful. So Joshua, can you jump back to the lighthouse image in the canvas? In the TL draw, yeah. So if you zoom in here, so all I need to do is like have a representative mind from Ithaca, one from the Arab world, and then a couple from Teapot, and then I can use their perspective to get a full landscape map, and then this works to the extent that each one is representative of their entire network. No single node is representative of the entire network, but all I need to know is like how biased are they, um, like their relationship to their network. Okay, what does that mean? Like, it means like I have people in Ithaca who like, um, if they love something, then like 70% of people, like I know how representative they are of Ithaca. So this is a weird thing because I'm basically saying like I can pull a single person, I can tell you what the entire world, their world
Okay, yeah,
thinks.
so this is like a system you
Yeah.
have for just you yourself and like it'd be interesting to see how it could be made to scale, I guess. Because it seems like a lot of work on your end to collect this data and also like know the viewpoints that these different groups have, and then also know how each person
Right,
you're sampling diverges from their group.
right.
It seems like kind of tricky and pretty messy, but I but like decent, like a decent approximation.
Right, and the like I'm basically think like I've prototyped it enough and I'm doing this manually enough that I'm like very confident of like how it works and I am ready to like systematize it, formalize it, automate it, make the tools to make this work. And the reason I know it works is because I'll literally talk to like two people from a new network and then I'll make a prediction about like a million people, like this entire cohort in the entire world. And then I'll tweet it and then it goes viral and then a bunch of people are like, holy shit, how did he know this? This is so, I've never heard anyone explain it so well. And I can do this even better than people who have lived their entire lives as Arabs because I can look at them from the outside. This is the thing. You can't see yourself from, it's really hard to see yourself from the inside. You need a mirror. You need someone to look at you from the outside. Um,
Hmm.
so this is part of what we're trying to do with the September event, which is, and part of the people who are applying to attend this thing, and I asked them, like, can you describe what territories you're coming from the internet? Um, but I want to give them, and this is actually where like Ian comes in, because I want to give people like we invented a concept of like standardized coordinates on Earth. We didn't used to have standardized coordinates. Did you guys know that? I mean, Ian knows that.
Yeah,
We used to just have like, it was just relative to where you are, whatever. And then someday we're like, well, what if we just standardize based on like London? And it's like, okay, here's an arbitrary line on the Earth, and we're
Yeah,
just gonna.
UTC.
I mean, is it GMT? Wait, well, no, yeah,
Right.
what's funny about the
we
standardized
invented latitude,
coordinates,
longitude. We didn't, yeah.
well, like yeah, we had latitude, longitude, but then like there's all these other systems that end up being like more accurate in other cases. Like we model the Earth as like the
Mm.
WGS 84 ellipsoid a lot of the time, but then it's like okay, now you have a geoid on top of that,
Right.
which is like the actual like kind of the more subtle fluctuations. And yeah, it's kind of like interesting. You have standards, but you have multiple different ones depending on the use cases.
And I think we're gonna run it like I think this we're gonna see the same kind of process as we try to standardize here, but I think we can start simple. Like I basically want to like because let's say this, like let's say two people apply to this thing and they say I'm from the Arab network. I'm like, okay, great. Are you both from the same network? Do you know, like, how do we know that? Like, you maybe you say that. Maybe you're like, I'm in the Arab network, and people are like, no, you're not. Who the fuck are you? We've never even heard of you. Um, are there
Mm.
multi like what does that mean? I think there are I think there's multiple ways to solve this. I have one proposal,
What are you
um,
thinking?
which is language. I mean, that's actually quite a precise one. Shibboleths. Ian, do you know this word, shibboleth?
Um, I think is this something you build up? No, you might have to define it for me. Like a big
It just
icon,
me.
sort of.
It's like a no. I mean the meaning of shibboleth that I'm using here is it's like a password. It's like a key word. It's a word that if you're using, it tells me something about
Mm.
um, what group you belong to, and the idea is that like the word originates in a certain network, and so if you know it, it's proof that knowing using the shibboleth is proof that you know the shibboleth, and so all you need to know to have a good functional shibboleth is like where that word is, what is the origin of that word, and where it has spread. So, for
So
example, like Z
it's not a.
buffer is a shibboleth because if somebody's using the word Z buffer, you know something about them. It's a computer graphics term.
I think in the original concept, it's not just about knowing it; it's about being able to pronounce it. It's like using it
Mm.
correctly. So it's like in your analogy, it's like can somebody actually program a Z buffer or use a Z buffer in a solution versus just being able to talk about it. And I think there's something inherent about experience that like we've created a simulacrum of the world in which people are really good about talking about things they don't actually have experience with or they haven't actually mastered, and it fools people who also don't have that experience but doesn't fool the people who do, and the people who do can't really communicate to the people who don't about why it's not correct. So we
Well,
actually need more shibboleths,
well,
not four.
the reason I want to standardize on this is I think it's very functional. So if you know the word Z buffer but don't know anything about
Mm.
it, okay, that's one sort of level, and it should be easy to out you. But if you
Yeah.
do and you know how to use the word correctly, then you are functionally in the in group. You are functionally if you're able to wield the language, then you can have impact on the insiders. if
Mhm.
people cannot tell the difference between you being inside or outsider.
Well, I just went from stage 0 to stage 1, so quick Google search. But I think
Wait,
like
wait,
part
wait,
of the
wait. I wanna hold
equation
on.
is
Can I get Ian? I really
yeah.
want to pitch this here. There's a
Um,
thing called the ideological Turing test.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh well, I was no, I'll let you go on with the this thing.
It's this. This is just the sort of like I'm tying into like a bigger concept here, which is like, yeah, if you can speak as a Republican, even though you're not a Republican, but the Republicans sort of see you as an insider, that means you've passed the ideological Turing test, and you being able to pass that, even if you don't hold those beliefs genuinely, means you're able to contribute or interfere with or influence their language and their ideology. You are functionally a player, you're functionally a insider.
Yeah,
You
I
because you perform the function of using the language, yes.
it makes sense to me. I guess like my perspective is I try not to use language like this generally, like kind of in group out group language as much as I can. And I don't know how many people are like that, where they're like, I don't want to use language to kind of separate myself from other people. But then again, like someone like me who thinks that way may not want to influence, or they may not have like the personality or something to influence the group. I don't know. Like I feel like you could be missing out on people by putting too much weight into this test.
So I think you're thinking of it as like a gating mechanism,
Kind of,
but
kind
it
of. Like
doesn't have to be.
zbuffer has like a
Bec-
technical term in like a function, but well, language does too. But like in this case, it it really depends like how strong the concept is and if it really needs a new term, or if it's purely being used as like a kind of a trick.
like we can actually expand this from just being like literal language words to concepts or like knowledge of events happening. So another way, here's because remember the goal we're trying to do here, which is like map. The goal is mapping and finding out where you are in like a voluntary cooperative way, because we just want to see if we're in the same spot or not. We're literally trying to do coordinates here. So if I want to know, like, are we in the same Arab network or not? One way I can test this is what's the biggest thing that happened in the last 24 hours or a week, right? And I can, like, when I can call my mom and she's in Egypt and she can say like, oh well, this is what's going on right now, like, and let's say it's like there's an earthquake, or like the waters are like there's something happening in that network that everyone in that network is affected by and so cares about, and so they know it. But if you're not in that network, but you have friends in there, then you would know it because you care about them, you love them. And if you're really not in there at all, then you would not know it. Of course, there's the exception of like you're like oblivious and you're asleep in the basement and you're like, what? Earthquake? I'm just playing League of Legends here. Um, so that's what I mean. So that's another way. Like, it's not language anymore, but it is a piece of information that you can supply in order to sort of prove your proximity to this network. And do you understand that, like, it's unfakeable? Like, you having that information tells me that you have this information tautologically. Now I can ask, how did you acquire this information? And you can say, assuming again you're being truthful, oh, well, I witnessed it firsthand, or oh, my mom is in Egypt, that's why I know about it. Either way, um, it measures you relative to the network, relative to the source of the information.
Yeah, I feel like there's a slight difference between that and the ideological use of language, I guess. Like for the earthquake example, or like any real world current event, you don't really have a choice to explain it any other way, I guess.
Mm.
Well, I don't know if Joshua understands this. I don't understand your resistance here, but I feel like I'm missing something.
I think
But
like
here's like
the
another example, I guess.
yeah
Yeah.
no yeah, another example would be good.
So this is like Axios published this as like search terms. You want to zoom in a little bit more. Um, this is like search terms over the whole year. So like, every month there's like a big thing like Palisades fire, Greenland, Elon Musk, DC plane crash. So it's like a summary of like what has captured the world's attention for the year. And you can see how you can see there's a sense of frequency. Like some things just kind of peak because they're like the current event, and some things are like an ongoing concern or something on your mind. Um, like
K-pop demon hunters.
K-pop Demon Hunters, yeah, starts and then it stays, whereas other stuff.
Inflation's definitely the standout. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
guess
so
like
then do you see
what
how this can be? Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking like so there's like terms that already exist and then there's new terms. And like the process of adopting new terms
Hmm.
is like very different from using old terms. So I'm kind of like
Sure.
I'm having
Well,
trouble seeing the like
well,
direct connection to some examples that like this chart for example. But I see how there's like a I see how it all kind of falls under the same thing. I just think it gets more complicated with the new terms.
well, you're saying because to me, I actually think again, I keep wanting to like simplify this. And one really easy, simple way to simplify it is like lexicon. And let's go down to the bigrams
Giga
one here.
fry.
So this is a little experiment we were doing where I took three people from this Twitter group who donated their Twitter archives. And this is the simplest thing you can do like in NLP. It's just the bigrams. And I asked people like, can you guess who's who?
Yeah, this is a good
And
example.
I think
Yeah,
the
because these are just simple words combined
and
in.
so they weren't. Yeah, yeah, and they weren't even like anything crazy, but everyone like actually most people got it right. And I think Joshua, do you want to try? The three people are here if you want to try to match them.
You sure? I don't even know Nathan. Okay. Don't think something like I'm sure doesn't know mean something else. Don't know. Feels like prediction markets. Effective altruism feels like seems like people think really really makes sense. I'm gonna say this is Nathan, this is Guy, and this is Ed Sheer. You sure? I don't know.
I think you're right. Like the easiest one is Nathan. He's the prediction markets guy, and so everyone saw that and was like,
Yeah,
okay,
it didn't seem like the other two. Yeah.
it makes sense.
But then
And I think there's actually
discipline.
something kind of poetic. We haven't really done this systematically, but I think a lot of like Teapot has this like epistemic humility. So like
Yeah.
don't know being in the kind of the top 10 for everyone makes sense. Um, and then yeah, if you
Yeah. In my mind, Guy is more focused on like trying to explain people and things and like generalize versus I don't think uh what's his name? What is his
Emmett.
what is his name? Emmett, right. Oh my goodness. I don't think he's as concerned about other minds in the same way or like the generalization of his experience.
So this is great. Like I love like watching Joshua think through this. This is like basically everyone has a lexicon and it is an individual thing and it's almost like a fingerprint and it's not just a fingerprint of like how you speak but I think how you think.
Yeah,
Okay, now if we zoom out, if we zoom in, everyone's very different. But if we zoom out, I think there are patterns. I think everyone in Teapot
sure.
speaks a certain way. And that actually is not again, it's not about how they speak, it's about how they think. Everyone in Teapot thinks a certain way. And this is where we get into interesting because everyone's like, well, is there one teapot or are there many teapots? I'm like, that's an empirical question. I can apply a certain lens. In this case, it's language or just whatever. It's a proxy. I get that it's a proxy. But if I put on that camera lens and then I look at it, I can tell you like, oh, according to this camera lens, there are exactly 3 teapots. And actually I can watch them do like a little mitosis thing. I'm like, well, back in the day, there was actually only like one, and then at that point in time, they started to split. And it's ambiguous at what point they're separate, but then at in the year, this year, they're clearly separate at this point. And the final sort of proof of like separation is like how much they influence each other. Because if you scroll up to the PSYOP graph, this is a specific word being picked up by the network. You can see before 2020, this word PSYOP was not being used, was not in the lexicon. Now suddenly it starts being used, and it's important that this isn't just like an event. It's not like the Elon Musk thing where like, oh, everyone's talking about him and then we moved on. It got injected for whatever reason, and it still stays as part of the lexicon, as part of something people regularly use. And this is our network. This is the fun part. What I wanted to see next was someone to take the same thing and do it for their network. Because I tweeted this and I said, PSYOP entered the lexicon in 2020. And everyone was like, no, I was using it in the year before that. And I was like, okay, that's your network. That's my network. Got it here. Did your network infect mine, or was it an independent event? And I want sort of that question to be triggered, and then we keep going forward and backward in time to answer this.
Have you ever seen those? I can't find an image. Those. Here it is.
I want to zoom out to see, Ian, like how much of this is making sense in the bigger question.
It's making perfect sense
about mapping.
Yeah, it's making perfect sense.
Nice.
And there's definitely there's scales when you zoom in and out. There's a lot of different ways to like analyze the use of words, and also like the question I'm thinking is like, how did I even get into this community? I don't even know if I am. I just was using X and like scrolling, and eventually I kept seeing the word teapot, and I didn't even know what it meant. I just kept seeing the word. I'm like, how that didn't happen completely. Like it was natural, but it was also. And then you talk about like how groups split,
I mean,
and like how language,
right.
It's not just you. It's
right.
also
like
infected from other people you talk to.
Right. No, this is very exciting, and I just want to set the frame here for everyone. Like, this was supposed to be a call where we update the world, but this is a recruitment call. I am trying to hire Ian. I'm trying to pitch him.
Mask off.
This is the real motive here, and I'm actually very excited because it seems to be working. And again, regardless of like what Ian decides to do, because like Ian could just say like, okay, this is cool, but I'm not gonna work on this. But I think it's enough for me. Like, if I can pitch you a spec. Like maybe all you and I do is like a spec for like a social media system that has a standardized mapping. Like I actually want to create a standardized mapping thing, and that's not something a single company can even do. And like you can be a contributor at any level. So like again, we're gonna keep going here. There's no pressure of commitment. Yeah. And again, maybe just purely this call, someone else looks at it and. Maybe I'll send it to Gary, our other friend, coworker, who will see this and be like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to work on that." So
you're using Ian to create propaganda, recruitment propaganda. How dare you?
Ori uses whatever minds we can get access to. Yes, we are not ashamed.
An opportunist.
I love it. Okay, so this is what's happening. So imagine a social media. Okay, so Ian's describing him kind of being pulled into like the teapot attractor. Like imagine teapot is this like whirlpool in social media, in the culture, and he's just kind of surfing, and he just ends up there, and maybe he ends up like being pulled in, or he just on the periphery, and then orbits and keeps going. All I want is very simple. Show me. Can you just show me? I want to see that path, your path through. And you know how you can do that? I don't need the surveillance state. I don't need Palantir. All I need is to attach some sensors to you. I actually need two things. And I need one lighthouse that you can ping to measure yourself against. I think that's the minimum I need.
I was thinking,
What does the lighthouse look like?
Go ahead, Ian.
I was thinking, like, if the X algorithm was open source, and if it would be useful to be like taking taking that into account, how the algorithm works. Like, X's
I,
algorithm could be very different from others, and it could lead to these attractors differently.
right. Well, but this is the thing, like, because they're actually very interested in this, and they have like attempted to open source it, and they've like released versions of it, and I think part of their struggle, like even if they want to do the good thing here, which I think they have been trying, um, they're fighting a game of cat and mouse with like people like sort of abusing the thing, especially when they have monetization. Um, so so that's like part of it. It would totally be useful to have the algorithm open source. But even if you do, I think there's still like weird emergent properties of it, like unexpected sort of effects. So like basically, I'm saying like that'll help. But on top of that, I want measurement, and I want measurement that's like quote unquote client side, because it regardless of because also there's a lot of things that are like happening outside of the algorithm, outside of the platform. Like you will read something in the news or physically have a conversation in person, and then that changes your language, and then you start tweeting it slightly differently. But regardless of where the change comes from, you basically have like full measurement capability at the client side in your own mind. Like that's the source, that's the ground truth. And so that's why I want to
Ma-
start with that. Yeah,
I'd say maximal measurement capability, but not full.
sure. Yes. Um, so like and yeah, and for me that way, regardless of where the change is, like I wanted someone to do like a little animation for us where like imagine a pool of water and then ripples are coming at it, and the ripples are coming from many different fingers or from one thing. It doesn't matter either way. I will get hit by ripples, and I can measure
Mm.
those, and then you get hit by ripples and you also measure them, and then together we can combine this um, to basically triangulate where the ripples are coming from.
Mm.
That's
Like
why
that.
this whole mapping thing works. I think you just need two. You just need your own. You start measuring like the psyop thing. You start measuring when did this word first hit you, and then I need one other station, ideally far away from you, to also measure that, and they can say we didn't see it, or they can say we saw it 2 weeks later. You can get a sense of like velocity or distance. Like we literally now begin to form an empirical, precise measurement of distance, and we understand that it's a proxy thing, but it gives us a solid thing to start talking about this, to start saying like according to this standard, I am 2 weeks behind you, or like our networks are so far apart that this thing didn't even reach me. Um, and then that's it. That on the basis of those standard coordinates, we begin to form a map. And I don't care if the map sucks; it will be a map, and people will look at it and say like, "Well, that definitely is not right because I am very close to those people, and I know everything they know. But on the map, it looks very different." And then I'll go and debug that, and then we'll release a second version of the spec.
Makes sense.
I'm kind of curious what you
You're
mean by spec in this
basically
case.
building human weather stations.
So, a good question. Um, the spec it's basically it's the protocol. Like the spec here could be the thing we did with the bigrams. Um, so it could be like, okay, the specification says generate bigrams for each user in the network, and then aggregate them in the following way, and then make this visualization, and then publish that, and then each network does that and then we were able to answer the question. Now, it's important, I think we just standardize on this thing because maybe someone says like, well, the bigrams aren't that useful. What about the trigrams instead? Then like, okay, let's just pick that. Um, Same thing with like this word graph. Like we made this chart, and that's nice. And everyone makes charts slightly differently, but I'm like, okay, can everyone just publish a CSV where it's just the words and the time and the username and then the link? And that way, like, I don't care. Like, Blue Sky has an API, Mastodon has an API and a standard. Um, they all have these different slightly, and they all have nice, rich metadata. And we can say like, okay, what's the minimum we need here? We need just the text, a URL, so that we can verify if the content is real. But it doesn't have to be like. Does that make sense? Like, how do you handle these little things?
Yeah, it feels like
I don't know how to answer this question. I mean, it feels
it's
like obvious. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of tricky. Like I guess when I hear spec, I think like something that's sort of set in stone. And of course, you can like make new versions of specs.
Mm.
But here, it feels a lot messier in that you need like a lot of different methods to analyze. Like the bigrams, I'm sure there's been studies done about bigrams, and like so there wouldn't be any point in like recreating that. Although there is value in mapping it, but then you have like these other methods.
But 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 all I need is think through all these dashboards and experiments we've done and which ones have been useful and which ones have not been useful. Okay, what do I need each community on Earth to publish in order for me to do this cross-community analysis? And one answer here is simply the words and the timestamps. Because from that you can generate biograms, from that you can generate the word graphs, from that you can generate semantic clusters. All that stuff can be, downstream of it, not standardized. But the data and how you share it,
Right. Yeah,
I can
it is
think
a
of
data
3D
problem.
tiles. Like what was the actual, yeah,
Oh, what was
and,
the
and,
actual
and an
what?
agreement problem. Like
Agreement. So what is
the
being agreed
actual
on
value I think
exactly?
of 3D tiles, what is being agreed on is that we choose to share at this level of privacy and how we're going to make that available. Like I
Hmm.
want this answer like a JSON. Like for example,
Yeah.
when so, Joshua, can you open up the Twitter community archive?
Okay.
Like this was the project that kind of started this. This was like a people take their Twitter archives, which are kind of messy, and they have all these different files, and this is like a very Twitter specific thing, and then you drag and drop it here, and then it becomes available via an open API, or you can sort of mirror the whole thing and download it. And it's like the author, the tweet, and then the date, and a bunch of other metadata.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
now
Yeah. I think I see.
and
So like
and
the
and so
problem
the, the,
is
the
the problem seems to me like you can't get the fire hose for all of X data, and also we don't have like the computers to crunch all that. And
right.
so that's why you're kind of trying to find people and groups who are willing to uh, share, I guess, privately or for research purposes, their their high detailed data, and hope that it's representative of the group that they're part of or groups.
Well, and the nice thing is that like yes, it is like again you don't need the world's data. You need your community's data to answer the question of like what's happening in your community. What the community archive did was get the data, the Twitter data from everyone that you talk to. And so as far as you're concerned, it is the whole world. It's your whole world.
Yeah. It puts a lot of
Let's
stock
pause
in
this Roomba.
community, like established communities. I don't know how many people who are like scrolling through, like the lurkers especially, if if they if their opinion or their thoughts are just as valuable even if they're lurking. I guess to
I
me,
think
I'm like a little
the
resistant to like,
lurkers.
yeah, go.
Are you resistant to like share? Is that what you're gonna say?
I'm I guess I'm a little bit resistant to defining communities so easily.
Mm.
Or for anyone to like claim that they are part of a community so easily, especially all the lurkers who we don't have info on.
Well, that's part of the problem is like trying to figure out what community or communities you're actually in, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like you're being exposed to tweets from people and they may or may not belong to specific, stable communities, but people form, emergent communities just by participation in these platforms. And so the question is like what communities are there? How is language moving through these groups? And that's kind of like if we go back to the beginning of the call when we were showing, these clusters, like these aren't the same thing as community. These are just, people's opinions. But the core idea is if you track people long enough and you watch the sort of proliferation or osmosis of language and terms and ideas, you can start to see the shape of different communities emerge. Even there might be a high degree of overlap. You might be, a member of multiple communities that you don't personally differentiate between.
Right, like basically it would be like for the lurker, you're scrolling, and these all look like individual people, but some of them are part of a collective that does move together, and them moving together is not. It's an empirical thing. It's not how they identify. It is
I kind of want
how.
to, I don't want to pull this in now.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the right time to.
Like I
Yeah.
made this little guy a few days ago. I'm super happy with it. But it has this little feature that is like identifying community, and these aren't explicit communities, and there's a lot of crosstalk across them, as you can see. Like just to give a background on what this is. So this is every single person that I've interacted with on Twitter, so that I've sent messages to or that I've responded to a thread in which they're mentioned. And so this community thing basically goes through and it does this sort of preferential attachment thing where it looks at each individual person and says, how many times have they interacted with this person? Should we put them in a group? And then it kind of does that repeatedly until people are either grouped up or left out. And so, like, looking through these, some of them are kind of surprising because it's like, well, I know Jacob and I know Frankie, and I don't recall ever seeing them communicate with each other. But like this whole cluster of people, there's a high degree of overlap. So we could debate like whether or not these are accurate community like identifications, but there's an interesting level of like topics that these people talk about and kind of how they run together, and a lot of this really does hold true.
Yeah, that
Does that
makes
make
sense to
sense?
me. Yeah, it makes total sense. And like honestly, the more I see this, I'm just thinking like all these more ways that it could be visualized because it is cool to think about
Hmm.
like the different
Oh yeah,
resolution of
totally.
communities. Like yeah, the global community, the micro
Yep.
communities, how communities form. Maybe
Yep.
like you see communities that don't even have a name
Yep.
yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And again, I think a lot of what happens is like these the micro organs form inside of a single community, and people don't see that. Not everyone sees that, but if you see it, you could sort of play with it. You can
Mm.
either
Hmm.
merge it or use that to cause a schism. I actually think, and wait, Joshua, can you jump to the
I
field
just like that
draw?
we're in a line here. It's nice.
That's pretty fun.
Um, yeah.
And you don't have to play the video, but just show that sort of screenshot above top left here.
Oh,
This is like a defense tool. It's a little fuzzy here.
this
It's
is
just a network visualization, but this video is showing them using it. You can mute it to detect like suspicious coordinated activity. Like you see a piece of news or a political thing, and you're like, okay, well, we've detected that these 200 accounts post within minutes of each other very related
Mm.
semantic content about the same thing, and so okay, they're probably either part of this bot network or like or just a human network of uh, paid influencers. Um, okay, so that's like the engineered parts, but this stuff can happen organically. And if you can, we talked about this in the call with Matthew about if you can see these structures, you can find the weak points and then bring an axe and chop them down. And
Wait. Is that what we're doing?
well, this is what's happening
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
this is
Right.
what's happening to you,
Right.
to your
Yeah.
communities, especially as they become to
We're
have global
getting
influence.
chopped, chat.
And I think we witnessed this in Elon Musk. Um, like Elon Musk and Trump had a really good thing going. And then I think
Mm.
it was engineered, and I have sort of like, if I had all the data, I could sort of show you like the fingerprint of an engineered attack.
Yeah.
Um, it caused a wedge between, it was very smart actually. Like there was this H1B issue that like was almost targeted to create a wedge between like the people who like Elon Musk
Hmm.
but wouldn't but like it's sort of like something that was designed to be a scissor question between them. And then I think Matthew asked like, well, couldn't that have been natural? And my answer is like, yeah, that like if you could look at the network, you could see that along that question there were two small bubbles inside the big umbrella. So that's a natural split that's already there. You coming in to sort of inflame that question at that particular time um,
Yeah.
is a way to take a natural, I called it like a rotting piece in the scaffolding and chop it. Um, so that's one thing you could do with this data is these influence operations, and the influence can be to hit the other guy, or the influence can be to defend. Like you can see you can see this thing splitting, and then you can decide what to do about it, protect it, or allow it to jump ship, whatever it is you need to do. Like
And part,
what people
I'm
do with
wondering,
this is not,
well,
yeah.
maybe you're gonna say what I was gonna ask, which is like how much influence can, like you're talking about like kind of splitting or like trying to protect, like yeah, these different
Yeah.
groups, and like one person, uh, like that's why bot farms are used. I think like you need kind of the volume to pull that off. Maybe the point of the tool is identifying these things
Totally.
so that it kind of more naturally happens. Like you get real people to work on like this. But yeah, I wonder like it's fun to like to analyze stuff like this and to see the patterns. But it seems like another matter to actually like do something about it.
Right. And the reality is volume isn't what actually does it. That's sort of like the lowest level. This is like what astroturfing is. This is like if you want your
Right.
company to look good or a company to look bad, you go on Reddit and you make it sound like there's 100 people who hate it and they're all anonymous, and that works. That's enough to work. On in other spaces, you don't care if a million people say this video game sucks or this product sucks. You care if the people you trust say it sucks. So then the game is about can I find the people that Ian trusts and either pay them or convince them. If they have high integrity, here's what I should do. I should figure out who those people pay attention to, and then or what sources they pay attention to, and then see if I can corrupt that. The more I can corrupt upstream from where you get your information from, the more this will work. Which is why like if everybody mapped where they get their information from, everybody keeps telling me like, Omar, what the fuck? That's going to be really bad. Everyone's just gonna abuse that. They're already abusing it. It's gonna be even worse. And I say, okay, hold your horses. We don't need to do that. All I need is I want to know. I want that information. I want to know where things are coming from that are hitting me. And I want to have these tools. Like the data that I share here, like I should be able to do this mapping internally to my network, to my trust network. you do this internally to your trust network, and when we choose to share, we choose to share because we're trying to figure out like, are you seeing what I'm seeing too? We have these weather stations, and we have the advantage here because again, we are the source, we're the client side. They can't run code on our client side on what hits our screens and what hits our brains. So does that make sense? Like you have full control over the client side. I can I can change how I interpret information. I can change who I trust, and you don't know the external world doesn't know that. They can try to piece that together later, but you, the client side, are always going to be ahead because you are the source of the input, output, and the interpretation, the perception.
Yeah, this is a kind of interesting like problem where like if you want to avoid using bot farms, you have to talk with sort of the thought leaders of whatever group you're trying to work with. And
Yes.
it's kind of an
Yep.
interesting situation because like it keeps up sort of a bit of a hierarchy or like an influence hierarchy. It's preserving that in a way. And I like I'm trying to think if there's alternatives to that, but it is tricky because like you need kind of the hierarchy to have natural volume of opinion emerge because I guess that's just how groups tend to work. But it does seem a little bit like
Like I think the hierarchy.
reducing agency for the kind of the average follower in a way.
So, because the base is that you just figure it out for yourself. You figure everything out for yourself, and that's actually the highest standard of truth. You see it yourself, you witness it, you do the calculation, whatever it is, you figure it out yourself. Okay, you can do that. Now, when you do that, you become a trusted voice for
Yeah.
others, because not everyone can do that, and also other people sort of want to pre-compute, like they already trust you, so they're just going to use your analysis or your opinion or whatever. And you, yeah. So I guess I'm saying to the extent that people already trust um, others, I want them to just be able to see where those people are getting their things from. I mean, one way we talked about this is like we have FDA labels for food, like it tells you like nutrition labels, like where this came from, what's on it. Um, I, wa- I there's a way in which we're trying to do a similar thing for again ideas, concepts, language, and it can be a whitelist thing. Like it's not about this totalitarian surveillance thing. It's just about when it matters. Like I want the sense like certified organic idea. Okay. And imagine saying this idea is certified organic and like okay isn't that a psyop, like isn't that just it's like okay well no, because when you tell me it's certified organic it has to come with like paper trail. I'm like okay show me the paper trail, and if you can't show me the paper trail then it's not organic, not certified organic, and if you show me a fake paper trail then that actually is worse. Like that actually, like do you see how this outs you? Like it's easier to just say to not label it. If you label it and showing a fake paper trail, it should be like a thing that outs you. Like you're marking this thing as like
It,
Data
manipulated.
it is
laundering
interesting to think that
ideas.
like the data can maybe out the fakeness of new
Yes.
terms. But the thing is like this
Yes.
whole method also
Yes.
can kind of flip back because if you're trying to like introduce a new term or whatever, a new concept, it's not organic if or it might appear to be inorganic if that's the methods you need to make it successful. Like I guess talking to someone who has a lot of sway in their community.
Well, this is actually the next step I want to get to, which is like I think there are like clean engineered things. What I keep calling open source psyops. Like sometimes I need to change the minds of a million people in various different communities, and I have a good reason to do it. What am I supposed to do right now? The only thing you can do right now is either like pay secret companies and they have to do it in this like secret sleazy way where they have to like all these secret methods, Or so you should just like write it, give a public talk. You just kind of do it kind of inefficient. We've never seen. This is the thing, and I want to see that in September, and maybe this is like the good closing here. We've never seen this, and I want to see this happen in September. A large-scale operation to change minds that is successful and documented, and it's efficient and it's not noisy. It's not about making something go viral. It's about identifying the 7 people that, between all of them, 1 million people trust them, and you pitch each of them and you say, hey, look, we're trying to change the minds of 1 million people. People trust you. Can you do it? If you agree it's good, and then each of them gets to make that decision for themselves, and then each of them translates that message however they need to. And part of the reason people don't do that is because it can backfire. Like, these people can say like, no, that actually sucks. I'm actually going to tell my people to not trust you and to have the opposite opinion. And you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have told you I was going to do that. Now you're back. That was backfiring. But we're here to say, like, that to me is a good outcome. Like, if I want to change the minds of 1 million people and you have that power and you choose not to, I basically want that all to be recorded. Like, my pitch, when I come to you and say like, programmers trust you, can you say this? People should see that I asked you that. Like, and I open a GitHub issue. Like, imagine open a GitHub issue for every influencer. Should have a little GitHub, and I can go open an issue and I'm like, can you please spread this? And people say like, well, that's not a good idea, or like, oh, this is good, and that's it. And then
That's a
like,
great
certified
idea.
organic.
I
It's
love
certified
that.
organic. Yeah, right. We fucking did it. That's it. It's certified
We could make
organic.
that.
That's what I'm doing. I'm getting everyone on GitHub. We're certified organic because you can disrupt it. Like, I don't know, no, I don't trust anyone in the goddamn world to tell me this is certified. Here's the stamp. I'm like, how do I know that's true? The only way I know it's true if I can see it coming before it comes into my mind. If I can see it being planned, and I can disrupt it. That's the only
Kind of got to
unfixable
stick your
way to do
finger
it.
in there.
Yeah. If you like this, like memetics or whatever this is, this open source thing, if like what's the proof that the thing is open source? Is that I can get the source and I can run it on my computer, and I can open a PR.
So you got to run it on your mom.
If I open PRs, if these guys never approve any PR, then I know they're lying. It's not really like a communal open source thing. If they approve, hear me out, guys, because they could be approving 1,000 PRs every day, and like, wow, great activity. But when I go and ask them for something, and they're like, oh no, we're not gonna do that. I'm like, why not? Like, this seems like an actually good thing. Well, what about all these other guys? Are these guys real? Are they all coordinating? Like, this is how I find out. I have to be able to test it myself. This is how I know.
Blackbird that shit.
I feel like this is good. This is it's good progress. We didn't answer. I feel like maybe Ian has a lot more questions. But this is just the beginning.
Yeah, I'm good with
I know. Sorry, I'm very
questions
fired up
started.
because
for now, I think.
But this gives you like sort of like what I really want to see happen next is like, we're doing these weekly calls, Monday announcements, the September event. There's a lot happening, but there's other public channels like Twitter and Substack, and I want to see Ian. I don't know, like, I mean, you're on Twitter, but also you have enough context now. Like, when I ping you next time on Twitter or another call or something, or on GitHub, we're gonna start specking this out on GitHub. And this call I think could be like an onboarding thing for the other guys too. So I'm very happy with where we're at here.
You can distill it.
Yeah. Thank you, Joshua, for hosting.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is cool.
Anything else?
This is I like this project. Yeah, there's definitely there's a lot of potential here, and if it's done with integrity, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Anything else, Joshua? Final words?
No, we're good.
Sweet. We'll be back next week with another guest. Maybe Ian, maybe someone else, maybe just us, maybe who knows what's gonna happen. But we're gonna keep doing
another test subject.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.